Hi everyone. Today I'll be showing you how to deploy a Django project on EC2 Amazon AWS. First of all, you log in as a root user and you have this console of AWS. You click on EC2 and you click on the instances. So I already have two running, EMS 10 and 11, but we are going to make a new one. So I will click on launch instance. And I can name my instance anything, but I'm going to name it EMS 12 for this video. And then we can select an OS which we want our server to be hosted on. Now, as you can see, we have a list of various OS available: Windows, Ubuntu, Amazon Linux, so on. But the by far most popular is Ubuntu. So we're going to choose it. And then we're going to go down, and you can see by default my t2.micro tier is selected because I'm using a free account for this video. But in case you have a paid account and in case you need more memory or more CPUs, you can choose the one which you like. For example, it has 32 gigs of memory and 8 CPU, virtual CPU, so you can choose anything you like. Anyhow, you can create a new pair or you can choose existing pair. So for this video, again, I'm gonna create a new one and show you how to do it. So I call it EMS12 underscore key. It'll be a .pem file, RS encrypted, and I'm gonna click on create key pair, and I'm gonna save it on my desktop. You can again save it anywhere you like. Now when we come down, we have a few settings that we need to make in the network settings tab, and they are very important. So allow SSH traffic from, instead of anywhere, you can write my IP for better security purposes, so no other IP address can access your server. And then we're gonna take all of them, right? And then we're gonna go on edit. Now you can see that by default, after the previous step, we have 3 security group rules created: rule 1, rule 2, and rule 3. We're gonna make a new one, and here we're gonna give the port range as 8000, which is the default Django port, and the custom, we're gonna select all zeros and :/0, and you can name it. That is optional. A very important thing, in case you are using an external database like Postgres, MongoDB, whichever you like, you need to add one more rule, and you need to specify the port number of Postgres or MongoDB. I think that is 5432 in case, So yeah, that is it. So rest everything aside, we can click on launch instance, and it'll take some time to configure. Okay, so we go back here, and you can see that this is pending, not yet created, because it takes some time to do it. So now meanwhile, we have two options from here. What you can do is, either you can use a dedicated Linux Ubuntu OS, or you can do git bash here if you have git bash. So I'm going to use git bash for configuring my project on AWS. So I'm going to click on git bash here. Let me make my screen a bit more big. Yep. Yep, that should do it. So now I have a bunch of files open, which is actually the whole documentation of how to configure Django on EC2. So I'll be posting this file in the comment section below, and also a file how to configure RabbitMQ along with Celery in the same section. I'll be posting it. Going back, yep, my instance is now running. So I'll click on connect, and this will be my public IP address. Yeah, and this is my SSH client, which I'll be clicking. Now in this tab we need to copy the code on line number 3.3. We'll be posting it in the git bash. Press enter, and now we'll be copying the last one, not the first one, the last one, and pasting it here. Now this key pair should typically give us access to a remote server which AWS has created for us. So we need to try it again. Might be some internet issue. Yep, so there was an internet issue, and if we do the same command again, we are prompted and we need to type yes, and there'll be a warning which we can ignore, and we are connected to a server, and now we can configure it. So I clear my terminal and go back to the notepad file. So from here you can do it one by one, but I'll be speeding up the video, so I'll be copying the first 3 commands, yeah, or rather the first 2 on my terminal directly. So I paste them here and my rules are updated. Then I enable the UFW, and I click on Y. So the firewall is active and enabled on system startup. So just to check the status of it, and the status is active. Fine. Now we need to update our server so that we can install certain files in it. So I write sudo update and it will update my Linux server. Cool. Now I clear my terminal again, and now I'll be installing Python, pip module, Nginx, and curl and virtual env on my server before doing anything else. Now I've been prompted that this all will need 259 MB of additional space, which I'm okay with. So I click on yes, and it will apply. Now while this is happening, I need to tell you a very important thing. If we go back to my GitHub repo, I have opened the settings.py file, which you all might be familiar with. You have to make a few changes to it. Number 1, there will be a piece of code called allowed host. In that you can type like you can add a star, or what you can do is you can simply copy your this public IP address, copy that there. A star means that every IP address it will work on. So since I'm in the testing phase, I'm using a star, but in production, real production, you definitely highly recommended you use this public IP address. Anyways, moving ahead. Now by default, Django has very few options of setting up the static file in the production environment. So I have installed a library called pip installed white noise, and I have configured it in my installed apps. Then I've added it to my middleware section also, right? So you can pause the video and check the code. One more thing, just so we are on the same page, you can pause the video again and look at the configuration of my settings static file, how I have configured it, so that you might not face the same problem of the static file not showing up. Anyhow, coming back, we have a purple screen. We can press enter, and no containers need to be restarted. Perfect. I clear my terminal. Now we need to git clone our repo. So I go back here, I write git clone, and I go back to my repo and I copy the code from here and paste it. Now I've been prompted to write a username because my repo is not public, it is a private repo. But if you're doing it on a public repo, you might not face this problem. Now password, I need to pass my personal account token and I press enter. And my project is cloned. Coming back, we need to cd in our project. So let me check. Yep. So I cd ems improved and I activate the virtual environment. So virtual env, you can name your environment anything. I'm going to name it env and I'm going to activate it. So source env / bin / activate, and it has been activated. Now what we can do is we can pip install requirements.txt, which will copy all the dependencies of my project in this server. So I paste it and I press enter. And I think it is pretty much done. fpdf bodo 3 to then numpy below. Yep. Cool. So I'm going to clear my terminal and I think I have installed it, but I'm going to recheck again. Pip install Gunicorn. So I think I have it. Yep. So I was cross checking it. Okay. So now what we can do is we can run python manage.py make migrations, which you are familiar with again. Oops, no module named Celery. We need to pip install Celery, which I forgot. Yeah, with that being done, now I think we can run manage.py make migrations. And then we can migrate. Now I've already applied the migrations and I've copied the same project in my repo, so I don't need to do it again, but for demonstration purposes I'm doing it. Now what you can do is you can create a super user, but I've already created it. You can go ahead and do that. But now we need to do collect static. So what I'll do is python manage.py collect static. This will copy all my static files in the production environment and render them. So as you can see, well over 1900 files have been copied. Okay. Now with that being done, I need to copy sudo ufw allow 8000. This rule has been added, and now I need to run my server, and it is running. So what I can do is I can copy this and in a new tab I'm going to paste it and press enter. But as you can see, nothing happens. Why? Because I need to replace my 4 zeros with the IP which I have been given, public IP. So I copy it here. Oops, I think I paste it here and press enter, and I need to pass in the correct URL. Yeah, so my project is up and running, but in the next video I'll show you how to configure Nginx and Gunicorn, because that will keep my project always up and always running even if I close down my SSH link from here. And it also provides with additional security and additional speed, which I think you can read the documentation of them. So stay tuned for next video. Thanks for watching it.